Why does homeownership feel out of reach, even when the national number barely moves? Because a stable headline can hide a deeply uneven market. In early 2026, the national homeownership rate slipped a little, but the real story sits underneath. According to the Census Bureau, the homeownership rate was 65.3% in the first quarter of 2026. That was down from 65.7% in the previous quarter. But statistically, Census says it was basically unchanged from both the prior quarter and a year earlier. So this is not a housing market in freefall. It is more like a car idling at a red light. The engine is running, but not many people are moving forward. The same report says about 89.7% of the nation's roughly 149 million housing units were occupied. About 10.3% were vacant. That sounds like plenty of empty homes. But most vacancies are not the kind that suddenly become affordable options for first-time buyers. The biggest divide is geography. The Midwest posted the highest homeownership rate at 70.1% in the first quarter. That was well above the South at 66.9%, the Northeast at 61.5%, and the West at 60.7%. The Midwest also had the only statistically significant year-over-year regional gain, according to the census data highlighted in the Realtor article. Why there? Affordability is a huge reason. Realtor.com's March 2026 Hottest Markets report showed strong buyer demand in lower-priced Midwest and Northeast metros, with every market in the top 20 coming from those two regions. That report said listings in the hottest markets drew about 2.9 times the national average views per property, and homes there had a median time on market of just 34 days, almost a month faster than the national norm. It also noted that many of those metros had median listing prices well below the national median, including places like Canton and Akron in Ohio, Rockford in Illinois, and Springfield in Illinois at or below about $240,000. That does not mean the Midwest is easy. It means buyers there still have a fighting chance compared with many coastal markets. And even Realtor.com's broader March housing data suggested the Northeast and Midwest remain far below pre-pandemic supply norms, which helps explain why affordable regions can still feel intensely competitive at the same time. By contrast, the South showed more vacancy. That can mean slightly more room to shop, but it does not automatically mean lower pressure everywhere. Age matters too. Census data showed households headed by people 65 and older had the highest homeownership rate, at 78.4%. Householders under 35 had the lowest rate, just 36.8%. That gap captures the modern housing ladder in one painful snapshot. Older owners often bought before prices and borrowing costs surged. Younger adults are trying to enter after both became much harder to manage. The article also notes a slight decline for people ages 45 to 54 compared with a year earlier. That is interesting because National Association of Realtors research shows Generation X remains heavily involved in the market, including multi-generational buying. NAR's 2025 Generational Trends Report says Gen X buyers were the most likely to purchase a multi-generational home at 21%. That helps explain why some midlife buyers still show up strongly in housing data, even when conditions are tough. They are not just buying for themselves. They are often buying around caregiving, shared expenses, or adult children staying longer. The same body of research also found multi-generational purchases hit an all-time high recently, at 17% of home purchases overall. In other words, for many families, the path into ownership is no longer one household, one starter home, one simple mortgage. It is more complex than that. Race remains one of the clearest fault lines. The article says non-Hispanic white homeownership edged up to 75%. For Black Americans, it was 44%. For Hispanic Americans, it was 48.2%. Those are not small differences. They reflect wealth gaps, income gaps, credit barriers, and the long reach of past housing discrimination. Urban Institute research has argued that income, credit scores, and marital status explain meaningful parts of the Black-white homeownership gap across metro areas, but that still does not explain everything. Urban Institute researchers found that even after accounting for factors like income, credit, education, and local market conditions, about 17% of the black-white homeownership gap across major metro areas remained unexplained. The Federal Reserve has also documented wide racial gaps in wealth. In one widely cited Survey of Consumer Finances analysis, the typical white family had about 8 times the wealth of the typical black family and 5 times the wealth of the typical Hispanic family. And that matters because wealth is not just a scoreboard. It is the down payment, the inspection bill, the emergency repair fund, and the cushion that lets a household survive a surprise without losing the house. So when people say housing is just about personal choices, the data says something bigger. The starting lines are not the same. Now look at vacancies, because they help explain why prices still feel punishing. The homeowner vacancy rate held at 1.1% nationally. That is extremely tight. Rental vacancy was 7.3%, up slightly from a year earlier. Regionally, the Midwest again looked tighter, with a homeowner vacancy rate of 0.7% and rental vacancy of 6.5%. The South had the most slack, with homeowner vacancy at 1.6% and rental vacancy at 9.3%. The census report also listed the median asking rent for vacant units at $1,579 in the first quarter. For vacant homes listed for sale, the median asking price was $339,100. That combination explains the mood of 2026. Inventory is still thin, prices are still high, and even modest improvement does not feel like relief yet. So what should we take from all this? First, the national market looks steady, but steady does not mean accessible. Second, where you live changes almost everything. The Midwest still offers better odds for ownership, while many coastal markets remain much harder to crack. Third, the deepest divides are not random. They show up across age, race, wealth, and family structure, and they keep shaping who can buy. And finally, a low vacancy market means buyers still need patience, financing ready to go, and realistic expectations. The national number may be flat, but underneath it, America's housing story is still splitting into very different realities. That is the part worth watching next.